Matthew 23. Jesus condemns the religious leaders of Israel, the scribes and the Pharisees, for their hypocrisy and pride. Jesus warns his followers not to imitate them, and he pronounces God's judgment on them. Jesus condemns the scribes and Pharisees for not practicing what they preach. They make a show of religion, but their actions don't reflect their words. Jesus condemns the scribes and the Pharisees for their pride and for making their religion a burden for others. Jesus condemns the scribes and Pharisees for their false worship, which was rooted in pride rather than a pure heart. Jesus pronounces God's judgment on the scribes and Pharisees, calling them blind and hypocrites. Jesus warns his followers to worship the Lord with their hearts, not their wealth. In this section, Jesus publicly condemns the scribes and Pharisees. He rebuked them for craving the honor and praise of men. He rebuked them for laying heavy religious burden on the common people. He pronounced several woes on them for their ungodly behavior. Hypocrite, biblical text. Someone who pretends to be something they are not, or who claims to follow certain beliefs but behaves in a way that goes against the beliefs. We already read that one. But in Isaiah 29:13, these people draw near to me with their mouths and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves and their religion. Then Jesus said to the crowd and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you, but do not do what they do. For they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Cumbersome means large or heavy and therefore difficult to carry or use or unwielding. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and the tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogue. They love to be greeted with respect in marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. This is what the word means. It's a small leather box containing Hebrew text or volume, worn by Jewish men at morning prayer as a reminder to keep the law. Volume, a fine parchment made originally from the skin of a calf. Smooth writing paper, imitating volume. But you are not to be called Rabbi, for you have one teacher, and you are all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth Father, for you have one Father, and he is in heaven. Nor are you to be called instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among you will be your servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over the land and sea to win a single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as Again, woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You travel over land and sea to win a single convert, and when you have succeeded, you make them twice as much as a child of hell as you are. Woe to you, blind guides! You say, if anyone swears by the temple, it means nothing, but anyone who swears by the gold of the temple is bound by the oath. Woe, great sorrow or distress, misery. You blind fools! Which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred? You also say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing, but anyone who swears by the gift on the altar is bound by that oath. You blind men! Which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift? Sacred. You also say, if anyone swears by the altar, it means nothing, but if anyone swears by the gift on the altar is bound the oath. You blind men, which is greater, the gift on the altar that makes the gift sacred? Therefore, anyone who swears by the altar swears by it and everything on it. Again, therefore, anyone who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it, and anyone who swears by the temple swears by it and by the one who dwells in it, and anyone who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it.